Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. Hello everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for Rebels, Season 3, Episode 7. Imperial Supercommandos. I'm sorry, all my windows got moved around, so I was trying to remember it off the top of my head.
I'm lost!
I got lost on my own computer. I'm your host, Cleo. With me I have John and Sam.
Lost in your own museum, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, sorry.
We're gonna steal the Constitution, guys.
Okay.
I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Whatever.
Different.
So my question going into this was, what the hell is an Imperial Supercommando? And we got the answer to that. They are Mandalorians who are stormtroopers, basically. The perfect little hybrid.
Which I thought was a little crazy. I was going, well, it made sense to me, but I was just like,
Oh yeah. For sure. I liked their design and John, what's the thing we watch about Rebels? Where they were talking about the
Rebels Recon?
Yes, Rebels Recon.
Yeah.
They were saying how it's based on Boba Fett's old costume. Like the original design for Boba Fett.
Yes.
That was the white. And actually, since I watched that video, I've seen like pictures of it, the original like white Boba Fett costume, and then like there's a pop vinyl of it, which was really funny.
There is.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, of the Boba Fett white costume. So the flying troopers were really cool in this episode.
Well, I loved how Ezra was so, like, not in the know. He's like, flying stormtroopers? I'm like, no, sit down, kid. You know what I'm talking about. It's like, that's okay. You know what's going on. It's all good.
Let me learn you something, kid.
I was like, aw, you're cute. That's cool.
You're this close.
But I I like that they, just kept along with what, again, in a one way, they're paying homage to, like, if you have watched Clone Wars, you know about the Mandalorians and the way that they use the jetpacks and all that stuff. But if you don't, then great. Then you get to know and you get that knowledge based on what you know of the original trilogy with Boba Fett, as you mentioned. So I thought it worked either way.
Yeah, and definitely if you watch Clone Wars, you know the like political struggles on the planet.
Yeah,
and
which actually I don't know if it's gonna come. I'm sure we'll get to it eventually, but there was a surprise in there for me, which maybe I wasn't paying attention previously, because I don't know if it's been revealed until now, but I was like, oh. So, but it's like it came kind of towards the end of the episode, so I guess we'll wait a little bit on that.
All right.
But it's about Sabine and what house she belongs to, which I guess is kind of saying it, but I was like,
Yeah, we can talk about that. I kind of jumped right in the middle of my notes anyway, so, Gar Saxon is, Clan Visser, and that's also Sabine's clan.
Yeah. And I was like, as in, like, Pre Vizsla, who, like, tried to take over from Satine and, like, and battled Darth Maul, but it didn't work out so well for him.
And you know what's...
Oh, God. I was like, that's all the same house. I was like, whoa, I did not, like, remember that at all. So with Mandalorians, they're all about a lot of things, but specifically honor and things like that. They're very old school in that way, and I think that came across, but, like, when he mentioned that she's like, you're of House Vizsla, like me, and I'm going, oh, God, no, it's like, there's this, like, this coming to terms with it, so, anyway, but also that specifically tying it back again into Clone Wars, I thought that was done really well, and I was like, oh, I didn't know she was from the same house, oh my goodness, that's, so I thought that was cool.
And it actually confused me, because I thought that Gar was the what's his name? Pre Vizsla? Yeah, I thought Gar was him, and I was like, oh, he's the dude! But then I realized it wasn't him. It wasn't the same guy. But I was close.
He never made it out of a battle, spoilers, in the throne room with Darth Maul.
Yeah.
He didn't make it out.
No.
Very dead.
Yeah, very dead. And it interesting, their concept of honor, because Fenrau was saying, "Oh, you're disgraced. Your clan is disgraced. You have no honor." But then Saxon was saying to Sabine, you made a bad name for our house. You don't have any honor because you left the academy. And it's like, that's they both have that same sense of honor, but for different things.
You're dishonest. You're dishonest.
Well, and that tied into how he's like, I see that you're going to die for your people, as in, I almost said Satine. That's going to keep happening. Damn those Mandalorians.
I do miss Satine.
Which Mandalorian am I talking about? Sabine. Well, just the fact that they said, he said to her, he's like, you're willing to die for your people. So she's made her choice as to who her family is, and we all know that watching the show, but like he realized that and accepted it and respected that. He's like, okay, I'm on board with you now. So I thought that was cool too.
Yeah, and how it's all about family. And it was interesting because when I first came into the show and first, learned Sabine was Mandalorian and that she had ties to like a clan that we, probably knew, I was thinking back to Clone Wars. I was like, somebody we saw in Clone Wars must be her mother or something. And I was just like, kept thinking, I was like, who is it?
Yeah.
But Saxon mentions her mother.
Yeah.
And that she's been looking for Sabine.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, that was another great bomb that they dropped, because I'm like, her parents are alive!
Or
and,
at least...
we don't know anything about them, but, like, they're around somewhere, so that's interesting.
Yeah, or at least her mother's alive. He made no mention of the father.
Exactly. I'm still not totally convinced, total side note, sorry for the tangent, but I'm not convinced that Ezra's parents are actually dead, even though we're meant to believe that, and it's meant to be something kind of heartbreaking for him. Usually I feel like with Star Wars deaths, actually that's not true. I was going to say, they tend to happen on screen, but that's not always true, so I take that back. But typically for important things, they tend to happen. I don't know, but I just don't believe his parents are actually dead yet. I think that's going to be a reveal later, and it's going to play into something, but anyway.
That they work for Thrawn.
Well, yeah, no, because if they're alive, the only way I can see that working story-wise is if them being alive is more tragic to Ezra than them being dead.
Well, either that, or like he'll be threatened with, okay, you do what we want, or we'll kill them, and that's what's going to push him to the dark side. So it's like something along those lines. So that's why I don't really think they're dead.
Still rooting for light side Ezra.
Yeah, I know.
I'm here with my tiny pom-pom.
Trust me, I can just see, I can see where they're going with it. That's all. I don't want that to happen by any stretch of the imagination. He's a powerful kid, and I think that'll be good, but I can kind of see where they're going with it. So we'll see. I don't want that to happen. I really, really don't. So I'm not a fan. I just can, story-wise, I feel like that's what they're alluding to. So, at the very least, they're alluding to the fact that he will come and face that choice that they always face, and we'll see how he deals with it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Sabine.
Yes, we will get to Ezra because he does play a part in this episode. But
yeah,
well, not a very big one.
No, not really. But he was most certainly the comic relief this episode. Most certainly,
he was the most useless Jedi.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know. It was like, really. Oh man, but it was still funny. Yes, it was comic relief. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. So
yeah. But about Sabine, it was interesting because I'm not sure, because he's like, Saxon was like, your mother came to work, came back to me, came to the Empire when you left the academy, when you disgraced your name, and I'm not sure how much of that is true and how much, because Sabine's like, she wouldn't have done that not by her choice or something like that. So I'm not sure who's right and who's wrong, or if they're both right a little bit about her mother.
They're probably both right a little bit. Mandalorians are just very, very proud and stubborn, and they're and so proud and stubborn that, yes, and this was pointed out in the episode, I thought that was smart too, is that they fight against each other. That's how proud and stubborn they are. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little bit of both of the truth, but the thing about Sabine is that she's aligned herself in a way of people who care, and that's what the Rebel Alliance is about. Specifically, the crew, the Ghosts. That's what they are. So, I don't know. I think it's probably a little bit of the truth in the middle, but there probably was something deeper going on there that made her think. No, I I think this actually came out in when you watch the Antilles extraction episode, is that when she joined the academy, that's meant to bring you honor, but like you're like when she was there, she's like, that's not what these people are about, and I can see that these people are evil. So she's like, I'm not about that. That's not what I'm in this for. So she pulled out, but then in doing so, that disgraced her family. So
yeah, and I like Saxon's his title, Imperial Viceroy of Mandalore.
Right?
Like taking the throne.
So official.
Like he picked the most douchiest way to say, "Yo, I rule you."
Right? Oh, but I loved it for that reason. I was like, that's perfect. I love it. I was like, screw you, man. But the fact that it made me have that reaction, I was like, that was a perfect title for him. So yeah.
Oh yeah. I liked how they in this episode.
Super comic book. That was basically it.
Super comic. Yeah. So I like how they set up the arc of Sabine and Fen for this episode. How it started with her trying to her playing him in like cube chess, whatever that is. John, you said that was in a novel.
It's in the Ahsoka book.
Ahsoka book. Yeah, they were talking about that game. Which was
Let's actually see it, because I did not understand it from the description in the book. So I was like, oh, okay. Because they're talking about, like, and then Ahsoka made this move, and I was like, yeah?
I don't get it.
Oh. I know some of these words.
Yeah, looking at it, too, I would have no idea. But cube chess is the only way I can describe it. Is cube chess.
Okay.
Or cube checkers.
Okay.
Whatever.
Cube swords.
Cube swords. Like her trying to get to him, and then the middle of the episode he plays her.
Right.
To get away. And then it comes back to family, and he sees how she looks out for Ezra and the crew. And he comes back around. I really like Fen Rao. I think I seem to remember last time we saw him, I just like, you're a dick, I don't like you.
Yeah. Again, that's how they are. About 90% of the time when you meet a Mandalorian, that's how they are. So he didn't surprise me in the way that he was. I'm like, oh my god. But I'm glad he came around. I am glad he came around.
Yeah.
So once he learned like his men had been slaughtered on purpose, and it didn't matter who he was anymore, and also the fact that he's like, no, but you're willing to die for your family. It's a very Mandalorian thing to think, even if it's not your, like, even if they're not fellow Mandalorians, it doesn't matter. So he's like, all right, I'm on board. I was like, yes. And again, he's a stubborn whatever enough that he'll be an asset to the alliance. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think, well, no, I think actually Ezra said it best, because what he says is just like, I'd rather be fighting with you than against you. It's like, I don't trust you, but like, as long as you're on our side for now, I'm cool. I'm like, yep, I agree. So.
Yeah, I think Ezra put that the most diplomatic way he could.
Yeah, but it also really, based on what you know of his character so far, really fits for him. So I was like, yep, that works.
Definitely. And I just thought of a good analogy that their like concept of honor, how they think of it differently, is kind of like patriotism. Not every patriot to whatever country they're patriotic for thinks the exact same way. But they all have their country in mind.
Exactly. It's just that some of them get a little more fanatical about it and like more puritist about it, and then that's when you get those factions and they're fighting against each other, and it's crazy. But again, Sabine made the joke is like, most of them fight each other. That's just how it goes. I'm like, yep, pretty much.
Yeah, and I love
from
how
the little we gained from like watching Clone Wars. So yeah.
Yeah, I like how Ezra's like, no offense, but Mandalorians are crazy.
I was like, yeah, you have no idea.
Not wrong.
Yeah, those, and they both Mandalorians laughed and were like, yeah, you're right, we're crazy.
Yep.
Yeah,
They don't play around, man. They steal dark sabers from Jedi temples. They ain't playing games, man.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I hope we see Fen Rao in future episodes on missions and in strategy sessions and stuff like that.
I think he will be.
Maybe he can train Phoenix Squadron.
Yes!
Maybe.
To not be cannon fodder. That'd be nice.
That'd be stellar.
Stellar.
I mean, Jesus. I mean, I like Fenn a lot. I think he's a cool guy, and I like him more because he's in the X-Wing game, and he's really good in that game.
Oh.
And yeah, he's in the new Fang Fighter that just came out in the game, and he's really good. But he's I think at least they have a really strong ally now with them because they've been kind of floating around with we recruited some 17-year-olds who could fly ships kind of good. So okay, great. I feel like Fenn at least brings a lot of experience and a lot of just raw power with him to their fights. So I think I feel better about the group now that Fenn's with them, honestly.
Yeah.
Because he is a damn good pilot. I mean, he's probably the best one there. He's better than Hera. He outflew her like nothing.
Oh,
so
that's right.
He's really good. They really need something like that.
Yeah, he's also a strategist, which they need more than the two that they have.
Well, right. I mean, and that's the thing. They can't keep just relying on the ghosts to get all the dogfighting done.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point where that's not going to be a viable strategy anymore. So at least they'll have somebody else.
Exactly, especially since the ghost is so big. If you're,
It doesn't dodge things.
Huh?
It doesn't dodge things.
No,
it doesn't.
You need some more A-Wing pilots.
Not very nimble. Well, but then just also, I feel like Mandalorians, I feel like have always been very militaristic, no matter where they're coming from. So that I think will pay off, though, in a good way, in that regiment, and he knows how to do things. So it's I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the raw power we get from Fenn Rau, we see a lot of hand-to-hand. And I think this season we've seen more hand-to-hand combat than we've seen in the whole show.
Yeah.
Especially from Sabine.
Yeah.
And seeing there's scenes of them doing hand-to-hand side by side, you really see what they got from their Mandalorian training, and they're both similarly trained and they fight well, and I love that we're seeing so much of this choreography in the show now.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, I was on the edge of my seat going, oh my god, Sabine! But I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, wow, they're showing a lot, and they're showing a lot for her, and I think that's really cool. I really thought that was very different, and I enjoyed it. And yes, at that moment, it just comes down to the raw fact of who they are and what they know, and they're going to pit it against each other, but for different reasons. So I liked that, and again, it's very poetic. So, but I really like that part in particular. And I thought that was interesting, too, that, again, they have her in the center of that, which is cool. So you just get more of that sense of her as a warrior, and they are, Mandalorians are a warrior people. So, yeah, I just thought that was cool, and they kind of enhanced all that. And I was, again, biting my nails off the end of my seat, because I knew ultimately it was going to be okay, but I was still ooh, this is going to be, really this is going to be a bit of a nasty brawl. So I was ooh.
Well, I mean, they're not above permanently injuring people, as we see, so,
Right.
Yeah.
It is always something that can happen.
Yeah.
And this show, as opposed to a lot of other Star Wars installments, we haven't seen many limbs lost.
No. Obi-Wan Kenobi is, the guy that likes to cut off limbs.
He really does.
Guy. He doesn't cut off, he's your guy. People in bars, people in no, he's your guy, man, every time, which I kind of love, but I'm but other than that, you don't really see it, which actually there's a little special thing, speaking of losing limbs, if anybody wants to check it out, there's a deleted scene from The Force Awakens where we get to see what happens when you make a Wookiee upset, so yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Go look for it. But yeah, it's something along the lines of Chewie coming face to face with Unkar Plutt, which is kind of awesome in Rey's defense, and I'll just leave it at that. But as far as limbs going, yeah, I'll just leave it to your imagination. But you should watch it; it's cool.
Yeah.
So real quick,
Sure.
I just found this little blurb here that Dave Filoni, the guy who makes this show, he said that Sabine's mom was one of the Mandalorians in the room that kneels to Darth Maul when he kills Vizsla during the Clone Wars. So she's there somewhere.
I'm gonna go, and you see, this happens every week. I'm I'm gonna go back and watch these episodes of Clone Wars, and I always forget. But I really do want to go back and watch that now.
Yeah.
Especially since we know she's in the room.
One, that's like a 2 or 3 part one that has to do with Satine being abducted by Maul and all that stuff. So that one's worth watching for that alone, and like Obi-Wan coming and all that stuff. So
yeah, it's a very good arc.
Like, I mean, yeah, that's a good arc, and that's leading right up to that happening and that tragedy. So it's just a good arc to watch anyway, and it's a good fight between the two of them. Also, Vizsla and Maul, so it's worth watching.
But yeah, that's
So let's talk about Ezra and Chopper this episode.
My favorite odd couple.
Seriously.
So
if it's not Ezra,
sucked.
Oh my god, we know he's bad at lying.
I love Chopper being an asshole because he's his usual asshole self, but he was an asshole on purpose. Sorry if I'm not supposed to use bad language.
Oh, go for it.
But he was a jerk to Ezra, and I loved it because Ezra totally deserved it. I was like, this is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. They're like unconscious in the ship because he gets uncomfortable when Fenn is staring at him. So they're unconscious, and Chopper just like punches him in the head. Just goes like donk. Wake up, idiot.
Get up. I know. I loved it. I was like, this is amazing. I love it.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, we've known Ezra's bad at lying, like that's no new news, but Jesus Christ, he's even worse this episode. Like there was no conviction behind the words he said when he was lying. It's like
what's this? I'm like, oh god, yeah, we can stop.
Well, he still panics really easily, so I'm not too surprised about that. Like when he's more in control of the situation, he's a bit better at it, but what was he gonna do? So
lie better.
You can only ask for so much.
Yeah,
exactly.
No. And then when Sabine grabs him and they're flying away and like he falls, he lands on Chopper. And
I loved that too.
That was funny, but the second time I watched it, Chopper he does his beep beeps, and Ezra's like, yeah, I know you didn't mean it. And I was like, did he just say, I didn't mean to save your life, asshole? Like, that really felt like what he said. He's like, I didn't mean to just save your life. I meant to let you fall.
That is absolutely Chopper, what he said.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I love Chopper so much.
Me too. This is the time that I love Chopper.
It's my favorite high-functioning sociopath.
Yeah.
Right? He really is.
Yeah. Speaking of that, the chase scene with the jetpacks, that was awesome. It did such a good job of reminding me of so many other chase scenes in the Star Wars universe, but it was still really unique. And I love it.
I felt like it had that, like, and again, it's kind of fun, but just in that moment of, like, they're getting away, they're making it a little different, they're using the jetpack, and it was funny because it harkened back to Star Wars Celebration, where the voice actress, she had asked Dave Filoni, she's like, I really want a jetpack. So eventually she got it, so that's cool. He's like, see, I listened, and so she got to do that and use it, and Ezra's kind of like, wait, what the heck? And it's a Mandalorian thing, so we're cool. And I just thought it was good the way the chase scene actually went. She's very capable with it, and then and then also just there's that moment in the middle where of course they're like, oh shit, we're screwed, and then it was still okay in the end, which is totally Star Wars. So I like
and her jetpack does get damaged at the end, but that's
she can't keep it. I'm like, oh
well, I was thinking that she can fix that.
She probably could.
She can probably fix it.
You're right.
So it's probably not the last we'll see of her jetpack. And that's all I got for this episode. You guys have anything else you want to say?
I'm trying to think off the top. I think we covered most of the stuff that I was like really like, ooh. And again, I will just reiterate. Actually, it's interesting because Dave Filoni is not. I forgot what his position was for the show besides like kind of showrunner, main director, but he's not doing that anymore because he's probably going to be moving on to other projects, but he's still an executive producer. I forgot the guy who is, but I'm so impressed with how well they're doing. Every episode has been very engaging. I'm not bored at all. I usually feel about this time we usually have a filler episode. All these episodes have been really phenomenal, so kudos to them. I think it's great. They're keeping a very good pace, and they're going to each character and having them have their own stories. I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're kind of spacing them out because I think they're going to want to tie this into Rogue One somehow. That's my suspicion.
Yeah.
Because that's how it feels, because before this episode, we had a week off, and this week was a week off. We delayed this podcast. So there was gaps in between this episode, which does feel like they're trying to line it up. But Dave Filoni's actually, he's like creative director of Star Wars stuff, right?
He's going to be in charge of like a lot of things now besides Rebels. So they like him so much that they're going to let him write for a lot more things, which is...
So and presumably what I think they might be doing...
He's like Joe Quesada.
They're grooming him for other projects. I mean, he really, above anybody else, is truly a student of George Lucas. Like, the guy knows what he's talking about, so... He understands the universe very, very well and what it needs in certain areas. But I think they're grooming him for other projects in addition to hopefully live action. So I'm hoping a live action series. I think that would be awesome. If Disney's going to make the deal with Netflix like they have, I think they should jump on that. But we'll see. We'll see. There's more anthology films to be made too, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So next week is Iron Squadron. Ezra and Sabine team up to tame a rogue young hotshot pilot and his crew who recklessly risk their lives in a fight to defend their home world from Imperial occupation. And in the promo, Zeb describes it as a ship full of Ezras. It's gonna be great.
And they're in a YT-2400, which makes me happy.
Yes. So, John, where can the people find you?
You can find me at No More on Twitter, probably ranting and raving about Star Wars shit until Rogue One comes out.
Awesome. Sam, where can they find you?
At Like Leia on Twitter and Instagram. Woo-hoo! Posting my own blog stuff as well, so check that out.
Yes, check it out.
Do that.
You can find me at Cleomoto. I've been doing stuff on Twitch. I have edited some stuff to go up on YouTube soon. So we're going to have that. And you can find all of us at ASOTV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, and right here on YouTube. Follow us for some more podcasts from some of your favorite TV shows, video games, and movies. Until next time, bye guys.